Hi, I'm Jordan, and this is Whiskey for the People. Today we've got Jack Daniel's 2023 special release. And this year's release is a rye. It is the twice-barreled Heritage Rye. And so what Jack Daniel's has done here is taken a rye and aged it in their standard new charred oak barrels for 5 years, and then for a secondary finishing, put it into one of their Heritage barrels for it looks like 3 years here to make a total of about 8 years on this whiskey. It says that their Heritage barrels are heavily toasted and lightly charred. And I do remember from the 2018 bourbon, you could definitely taste that rich, toasted, oaky profile throughout the whole thing, from nose to palate to finish. So I'm a fan of their Heritage barrels. What I've done is I brought out these 2 releases from 2022 from their Distillery Series, which used to be their Tennessee Taster series. And these were also 2 finished ryes that Jack Daniel's released. And it looks like what they were trying to do is feel out the market, do a little bit of a control group, see how it was received in Tennessee in anticipation for this product that they were developing. But what they did was they released a maple barrel finished rye and then a no char oak finished rye. And I believe the maple barrel is no char as well. I believe they're both high toast. Yeah. So when these came out, I remember liking them all right. I do think that the maple came off a bit sweet to me, and it had a bit of a synthetic note that I kind of couldn't get over, and it was a little bit overpowering for me. But the oak was pretty good. I thought it was all right, but at $39.99 for a 375, they're quite expensive, and this coming in at $69.99 makes it actually a little bit cheaper for the volume than these. But Jack Daniel's has cut all their special releases and their limited releases to 700 mil to make it uniform across the board for international purposes. And so us Americans are missing out on 50 mils of our whiskey every time we buy one of their limited products. But so I've got these poured up blind. They've been poured about 20 minutes ago, so they've had some time to settle. We're going to see what we're going to get out of this, put this in context, and see if this is special release quality. This is proof down to 100, and it is a finished rye whiskey, whereas their past couple releases have been their cask strength, barrel proof offerings from their bourbon and their rye, respectively, from 2020 in through 2021 there. And then, actually, I messed that up. So 2022, they released their American Single Malt, which was finished in a sherry cask. And that kind of got a little bit of mixed reception on that. Not a huge demographic that is into American Single Malts, but I loved it. So anyway, enough rambling. Let's get on to this blind. Let's see what we've got in the first glass here. And on the nose right away, I'm getting kind of a nutty profile, maybe kind of a slight bitter, astringent thing going on, which astringent doesn't even make sense on the nose because that's more of a mouthfeel thing. But I do get a little bit of bitterness, kind of like a walnut thing going, maybe like the skin, the shell of it. And what else do we get? Just giving a little bit of a breather here before I come back to it. Just a little bit of rye herb thing going on, maybe a little bit of honey. There's not a ton going on the nose with this one. Let's give it a taste. Okay, so there's a lot of wood influence right away, and then it gets very sweet, almost synthetically sweet. Just very confectionery, kind of Aunt Jemima's, not real maple syrup, just corn syrup type of thing going on there. It does have a bitterness to it. If I had to guess off the bat, this, to me, is a little bit sweeter this time around than I even remember it. But this would probably be the maple, if I had to guess, this first glass here. But we'll see. Let's go to the second glass. This is instantly much more on the nose, much richer, much more bold. Yeah, I'm getting warm rye spice going on. I'm getting definitely oak, but this is sweeter oak. And this is sweet wood. This isn't anything confectionery. It's not a honey type of thing. This is sweet, mature oak. This is a much more developed sweet note that I'm getting. Definitely darker. So this one I right away like better than the first glass for sure. Let's taste it. Yeah, a whole lot more going on there. That one was head and shoulders above the first glass. So on that one, I get a lot of rich wood, and it's sweet, rich oak. It's definitely got some warm rye, herbally, kind of a sweet herbal tea, but there's this brown sugar, molasses, maybe even a bit of cinnamon going on with this one that just is so much more significant when it comes to the flavor and in the smell of this whiskey than the last glass. This is just the volume turned up quite a bit. So let's see this third one. Okay, this is giving me a little bit of context here. Yeah. Okay. So this third glass is much more developed, much deeper, darker. I would argue complex, for whatever that's worth. And this just tastes like a higher quality product. Much more polished, much more rounded, much more balanced. I mean, I get everything from lighter, more nuanced, delicate sweet notes to deep, dark, rich, kind of slathered on, cinnamon sugar, cinnamon butter type of thing. The rye is not lost on this at all. It definitely cuts through all of that dark, sweet, oaky stuff that's going on. It's herbal, but it's richer. This tastes stewed almost in comparison to these other two. Definitely has more age on it. If I had to guess, I would say this is clearly the special release on this third glass. Which is funny because these are all within a proof point of each other. This one's 100 and these two are 101. And so for this to have so much more that it's giving me right away really shows you the power of good oak, good wood in general. That whiskey really needs quality wood. It needs quality warehouse placement, and it needs a little bit of time. You can't rush it too much. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, definitely the special release. Yeah, that's great. It's almost reminding me a bit of some Amburana finished things and some honey finished things. This has so many different layers of sweet going on in this third glass. Like I said, it goes from very light, nuanced, kind of honeysuckle, light honey, very light butter to these deep, dark, caramelized, reduction, baked, just really developed dark, sweet profiles. This is a fantastic whiskey. Whatever's in this third glass is out of this world and well worth any of these prices. So let's just go one more round from start to finish. Give you some second opinions now that I've tasted everything, go back through it, and we'll wrap it up. Yeah, so coming off of that third glass, this is just so light, very bright, very immature. There's a bitterness. That's the most significant thing that stands out to me is ethanol and this bitterness that are kind of intertwined, which comes off as extra synthetic to me. And I think that's what's kind of tainting the sweetness of this for me. But I do get that nutty profile on there, and I think that's kind of nice. I don't think that's bad. That's not unpleasant. Yeah. So it's actually better on the palate second time around. That nutty profile kind of has some context there. I do get a good amount of wood, a good amount of oak, but it does seem like this is a different wood that's making this kind of so distinct. I think this is the maple. We'll find out here in a minute, but yeah, there's just young wood. It's green, very, very kind of acidic thing, going on with it. Very bright, punchy. That's really that, and the bitterness are kind of dominating this thing. It does taste less synthetic this go around, which I'm glad about, but yeah, this glass doesn't hold light to the other two. Let's see what we got here. Glass 2. Yeah, this is just, everything's that much more big, that much bigger, that much more clear. Just volume turned up. So this on the nose was about the same as I remembered it, but the palate this second time around really lacked for me. I thought the palate was quite weak this second time around, very watery. The nose is still as good as it was first time around, but nothing really new on this one. Darker, a little bit spicier. The rye is more clear, but it's well integrated into that oak. This is clearly very oak dominant as compared to this first glass, which would obviously lead me to believe that is the oak Distillery Series here. Yeah, but the nose is significantly better than the first glass. Let's go in again for another taste. Yeah, the oak is the dominant thing on that. That's just a lot of oak on a rye. It tastes younger though. This tastes younger. I'd be surprised if this was much over 4 years old, maybe 5 years old, but That's really weird to say because actually rye ages great 2, 3, 4 years. 2 years are usually very bright and punchy and young, but 3 and 4 years you can get away with pretty well in rye. This, maybe it's the amount of oak that makes me think, it's got a little bit of age, but it just still tastes immature for what I think the distillate could be. That needs more time. So let's go to this third glass. And I can tell you right away, if this isn't the special release, then I need to buy more of whatever this is. Yeah, just so much more complex, so much richer. There are a lot of kind of stewed notes going on. I definitely get some kind of stewed fruit. Berries, plums, Just deep, dark, rich. The oak on this is it's so much more balanced than the other two. It's not overpowering. It has more flavor and it's stronger, but it's definitely not just dominating the profile of this whiskey. And again, I get stuff that reminds me of these honey and amburana finished whiskeys, and there's just so many layers again to the sweetness of this profile. It's got everything from light, bright, to kind of medium, rich. There's definitely this sense of viscosity. Even on the nose, this smells like it's a thicker, richer profile. And then the dark, sweet notes, just kind of caramelized, baked brown sugar. Let's taste it again. Yeah. That is an extremely well-balanced whiskey in general. Everything going on is not stepping on the toes of anything else. From the initial thing, which is the oak on this one, just because it's so deep and dark, you can't help but just smell the oak, to the rye profile. The rye, this feels like this bottle was pulled at the right time, especially if you're finishing it. I don't think, the distillate rather. I don't think that this would have needed to age any longer, especially if it's aged 3 years already in that secondary barrel. I think this one, this has to be the special release. It's a much more developed whiskey. It's richer across the board. And just sitting here and letting it kind of linger on the palate, it's got these buttery, flaky, cinnamony, baked goods type of thing. Maybe a cinnamon roll, but I'm really getting more of these kind of buttery, flaky, kind of croissant, maybe a iced croissant or a cinnamon sugar croissant type of things going on. It's just super rich. And this this third glass, whatever this is, you could easily drink this all day. This is a dangerously easy whiskey to drink. But I've got the key here. So let's see what we've got. The first glass A, was in fact the Maple Distillery Series. Then this, let's reroute this. So his first glass is the Maple 2022 Distillery Series. And the second glass here, which my guess was the Oak Distillery Series. Glass C, and it is. So yeah, this one was great. Definitely a big step up from the Maple, in my opinion, for my palate. But coming back around, and especially after Glass B, which of course means it's the special release here, it's just not in the same league. It really isn't. And it's very watery on the palate in comparison. It just doesn't hold up. The age, I think, really hinders it. It's not settled. It's not matured enough. And who knows if the distillate was aged enough in its first barrel, second barrel, where that breakdown begins. But yeah, I think this went about as I expected it to, but it's very clear that this special release is a different caliber, and this is special release quality. I think this is a fantastic whiskey, and for things like the Penelope Rio and a few other finished whiskeys becoming, very very hyped, very prominent in the market, very desirable, things that people are chasing after, and that you would imagine a lot of enthusiasts or very critical people may shy away from if they were kind of purists or old school. This this special release, it's really showing that Jack Daniel's can achieve that and be right there in the upper echelon of anyone doing it in a way that, not a lot of people can compete with. But yeah, so 2023 Jack Daniel's special release, the twice barreled Heritage Barrel Rye. It is fantastic in my opinion. I'm glad I picked it up at $69.99. I didn't overpay a penny and was happy to actually buy two. So thrilled to have it. And it's night and day better than these Distillery Series. Out of these two, if you see either of these and you're wanting to pick one up, I would definitely recommend this this oak rather than the maple. The maple is just not my thing, but who knows? Your palate's different than mine. Try them out for yourself if you can. Appreciate you watching, and I hope this was of help. Cheers. Bye.